In 1956, international Grand Prix motor racing took a foothold in Australia with the victory of Stirling Moss here at Albert Park in Melbourne. And now 50 years on, it's Jenson Button on pole position as we welcome you to our live coverage of the Australian Grand Prix. Oh, and welcome back to Stirling Moss as well. On you go, you know where to park.
Goes fastest, 1:25.229 for Jenson Button.
Melbourne over the years and in the past few weeks has seen plenty of great moments for British sport. Whatever happens for Jenson Button over the next couple of hours, yesterday was another moment to celebrate. Jenson on pole position in this sport-mad city. Melbourne, the Albert Park circuit, where the crowd is passionate for its motorsport of all kinds. But when F1 comes to town, it's a very special occasion indeed. The sun is shining, the threat of rain has largely gone away, but will the sun shine on pole position man Jenson Button? And it's welcome to Mark Blundell. First of all, how impressed were you with what Jenson did yesterday? How optimistic are you with what he could do today?
Super impressed. I think he's done a tremendous job. And I'm very optimistic that I think he can get a great result today. You just get the impression that they're running with some fuel, they've got soft tyres on, weather conditions are cool, and there's a great result there. Yeah,
the feeling perhaps was yesterday, immediately after he'd achieved that pole position, the car was perfectly set up for qualifying. Maybe he was at a handicap for the race, but those thoughts are starting to go away.
Very much so, Steve. I think actually the car took a little bit to come to him, and I think that's because they were running with quite a lot of fuel on. That level got down, and he just extracted everything from it. Smooth driving style, great round this circuit, and very much in anticipation now to see that big result come for him.
But all the big names are around him, Raikkonen, Alonso, Fisichella. The start is going to be so important.
The big problem for Jenson will be he needs to get into turn one before those Renaults hook up. We know that they're fast starting. If Jenson can just get hooked up, get down there with a fuel load on board, he's got a great chance.
Well, let's first of all look back on exactly what he achieved yesterday. And yesterday's qualifying was one of those new style sessions that had absolutely everything. Drama, excitement, confusion, unpredictability. And from Jenson's point of view, from Britain's point of view, from Honda's point of view, a tremendous climax. James Allen and Martin Brundle tell the story.
This Melbourne track has been giving low grip all weekend, as Yuji Ide found at the beginning of the qualifying hour. He couldn't find a gear, got stranded on track, and that brought out the red flag. When the session resumed, Barrichello found himself up behind, guess who? Ide again, in the Honda B team car, and it blew Rubens' lap. He was eliminated in the first knockout session. Into the second knockout, and it was really tight. Rosberg pushing very hard, a little bit ragged, and on this occasion not finding the best from the car. David Coulthard also struggling a little bit for pace with the Red Bull. He would eventually wind up in 11th place. The Ferraris are having a terrible time. Massa lost it, and this spin and accident brought out another red flag. Then it started to rain, and that caught everybody's attention, but luckily it was only a brief shower. It didn't really affect the lap times. Michael Schumacher having a tough time. He failed to make the top 10. Jenson Button struggling for pace at this stage of qualifying, but the midfield teams were the heroes, both BMWs and both Toyotas in the top 10. Into the final pole position shootout, everyone pouring out on track to do the fuel burn-off. Jarno Trulli, though, left behind with a gearbox problem. The battle between the two Renaults is intense this weekend. You can see the frustration of Alonso. He wanted to get on and get a banker lap in, but Fisichella was blocking him early on. Juan Montoya relishing this upgraded McLaren, but he had a little spin. He would nevertheless be back for more later on. Fisichella on the attack across the start-finish line. He would eventually wind up in second place. All eyes on the Honda though. Jenson Button was having a fantastic lap. Was this his third career pole? It certainly was. He was 0.4 of a second faster than anybody else. Montoya was still hungry though. His first and second sectors were perfect. The third one let him down and he wound up in 5th place on the grid. Nevertheless, McLaren looked very racy here. Honda absolutely delirious and Jenson makes his feelings plain.
Get in! P1, well done mate.
Well, that was a cracking qualifying session. I think we both agree the best we've had so far under the new format. But let's just pick out a couple of details for you. Martin, I was really impressed with the way the midfield teams, BMW and Toyota, bumped the Ferraris out of the top 10 shootout.
It just shows you how close Formula One is this year. And they've got good cars underneath them. If they get a clean lap in with a fresh set of tyres, they're going to be right there and humbling some of the big names.
Now, Jenson Button's on pole by 0.4 of a second, which seems an awful lot in this fuel-restricted era. Now, both Renault and McLaren are saying that's because he's running lighter than them. Is that going to be a problem for him, or do you think he's a genuine contender this afternoon?
I think he's got more fuel on board than they expect. The car wasn't performing that well. Honda did not expect to be on pole, so surely they went for a slightly sensible race strategy. They haven't gone for the glory run because they were struggling, and therefore I think Jenson will be there or thereabouts.
So there's 5 potential contenders here, and what's very interesting for me is this is the first time this year we've really seen McLaren on the same pace as Renault. It's wide open this afternoon.
Jenson Button takes his 3rd career pole with a mega lap in the Honda. Fisichella, last year's winner, sits alongside in a fast-starting Renault. Alonso is 3rd in yet to qualify in the front row this season. Raikkonen 4th and his best position for 06. Montoya 5th in the McLaren. Ralf Schumacher sits inside the top 10 for the first time this season. The local boy Webber starts in 7th with the nimble Williams. Heifel produces BMW's best with 8th. Trulli's 9th. 4-time Melbourne winner Michael Schumacher is promoted into the top 10 after Villeneuve's engine penalty. DC's best qualifying slot in the Red Bull. Lutzi an impressive 12th for his first race here in Melbourne. Clean 13th and half a second slower than his teammate. Nico Rosberg struggled with the track and in 14th position. A poor 15th overall for Massa's Ferrari. Rubens is very unhappy to be 16th and a long way off Button on pole position. Albers and Speed sit on the 9th row. Villeneuve down the order, 19th. Montero 20th in the MF1. The last row is filled by the Super Aguri cars, challenged by this fast and flowing Melbourne circuit.
And let's take a look at that flowing circuit through the eyes of Jenson Button. Albert Park then 5.3 kilometres, 3.3 miles, 16 turns in all. We're in the pit straight then. Button, this is one superb lap we're about to witness. 185 miles an hour down to turn 1. You've really got to pick your mark and get the car turned in absolutely on the right spot. And did he do that? He's already through 2. The sweeping right-hander heading down to the critical braking zone of turn 3, 185 miles an hour, down 5 shifts. He doesn't even need all of the track look. He can switch back for turn 4 immediately. He mullers the curbs, clambers all over them. That's quite aggressive for Jenson's normal style. Turn 5 flat out through the canopy of the trees, slightly unsighted. A critical braking zone then into turn 6. Keep the nose in nice and early. Stamps on the throttle pedal, he's away. Turn 8, you'd never ever want to crash in here. 175 miles an hour, the bumpy braking zone of 9. It's another chicane. He's just got enough space to keep it on the road, building up then to 190 miles an hour. Ignore those white lines, you've just got to take the straightest line you can get away with. Now you're looking for a tiny piece of curb in no man's land. There. Listen to the throttle, he's absolutely fully on it. I've never seen anybody drive better through there. Down to turn 13. A relatively straightforward 90-degree right-hander. Approach from the outside, minimise the angle, get on the throttle pedal, and once again check it on the curb. 14 nips you on the exit and swing immediately across the road for the heavy braking zone for the hairpin. Try and keep it inside if you can. The final turn then, it opens up on the exit. You can really attack it. He's into the pit straight. A great pole position from Jenson Button.
Morning, Jenson. I know you've only just arrived, but what are your thoughts for what lies ahead today?
Very excited. The weather's beautiful, which is good for us. The warmer, the better. So the most important thing for us is to keep the runners behind at the start. You know, they're so quick off the line, but that's what we really need to do, is to get into the first corner first to have any chance of beating them this weekend.
What was the mood of the debrief yesterday? A certain amount of quiet satisfaction, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we're all pretty chuffed for yesterday, but we know that that's not what we've come here to do, to get pole. We've come here to win the race. So today's a big day, and it was just a lot of talk about strategy and all the different scenarios that could go wrong or could go right. So yeah, we're pretty well prepared for today.
So we all know that qualifying is one thing and the race is something completely different. Is it that you want to inject a note of realism into what you're going to achieve today, or what you can achieve today?
Well, if we were able to win today, it'd be an amazing weekend for us, and it's to be the first win for this team. But there's a lot to do before that, and to achieve that we have to beat the Renaults, who are very, very strong in the race. And as I said, they've got to start. It's very impressive, and if they've got the pace in the race, there's no chance we can beat them, however good our strategy is, however hard I push. So, we're positive, but we know that it's not going to be easy.
And all your thoughts focused on that start. You mentioned conditions. Are you pleased with the slight improvement that we seem to have today?
Yeah, definitely. The weather is beautiful for us today, and hopefully it will stay like this. Typical Aussie weather this is, so hotter the better, and the good thing is I'm on the clean side of the grid, which should help us today.
What about the build-up now? How easy is it to stay free of distractions and so on?
Well, it's not that easy when you've got all this going on. No, it's easy. You're pretty used to it after 6 years of racing in Formula 1, so I'm pretty relaxed, and as always, it's the best way to be, I think.
I'm starting to sense that I might be one of those distractions, so all the best today, Jensen.
Thank you.
Have a good race.
Cheers. Thanks.
Good luck to you. Plenty of distractions, not only for Jensen, plenty of distractions on and off the track here at the Australian Grand Prix, and Louise Goodman now rounds up the whole social scene that surrounds this amazing event.
It was an action-packed qualifying session, and there's been plenty to keep people entertained away from the racetrack this weekend too. The Grand Prix Ball is the highlight of a packed calendar of social events and photo opportunities taking place here in Melbourne.
We've had the Australian Open tennis and the Commonwealth Games, and now the Grand Prix. Very few capital cities in the world can actually put on those performances, so we're very happy.
I mean, I came here in '56, the first time, and the people just made it great. I mean, they are so enthusiastic, whether it's cars or tiddlywinks, it doesn't really matter. If it's sport, they love it.
Fantastic to be here, fantastic in Melbourne, and hey, what a city. First of all, the Commonwealth Games and now the Grand Prix. Can't ask for any more than that.
Not everybody gets an invitation to the posh parties, but the whole city gets to join in the fun.
Actually, if you haven't been out on trackside, check it out, because there are people everywhere. The cars are just going around berserk, and if you haven't got your earplugs, get them today.
It's the favourite place to visit just for the city. The lifestyle is close to the beach, the atmosphere is fantastic. They're just world leaders in terms of putting on a big event. I mean, this is not a day's work, as you know, so it's a very, very hard logistical exercise to execute.
Well, it's obviously one of the highlights we have through the year, with all the excitement from the fans and from town and so on, so it's a good atmosphere.
As usual, it's just fantastic atmosphere. The people are really friendly.
To start with, it's probably the most beautiful paddock we come to. We've got lovely trees, nice shrubs, and it is nice, and it's all really open, which is good, so you get to see everyone.
Terribly sporting city, Melbourne, Australia, I suppose, in general, but this place does have a particular buzz about it, that's for sure.
They really, really embrace the whole thing. The whole culture of sport is here. It's a magnificent event.
Although Formula 1 pays only a flying visit to Melbourne, the city's love of sports certainly leaves its mark.
Here it's always a great atmosphere. The fans are great. Everybody has a great time in the city.
He's going for the try, and he's over!
There were all sorts of events taking place around town in the lead up to the Grand Prix. Some were more eager to take part than others.
First experience playing rugby, and it was really, I enjoyed really a lot. So.
Just like a ballerina!
And the media here just can't get enough of Formula 1.
Good morning.
You've got a 14th and an 8th place this season. Is a first place a reasonable expectation from you?
Well, first of all, we haven't done well at all.
Well, the crews and the cars will be going out on the grid very shortly, just a few minutes' time, and we will continue our build-up to this Australian Grand Prix right after the break. And welcome back to Melbourne, where Britain's Jenson Button will be parking his Honda on pole position very shortly, and we'll be out on the grid with him as our build-up to this Australian Grand Prix continues amid the enthusiastic atmosphere of Albert Park in Melbourne. Quick reminder of the Drivers' Championship, though, and that 7-point gap that Fernando Alonso has already established over Jenson Button and Michael Schumacher in the defence of his title. Renault in an equally strong position after 2 rounds in the Constructors' Championship. So this is very much a race that could shape the championship to come. Well, if there's one thing the Australians love more than their sport, it's an Australian winner. You might have got that impression from the recent Commonwealth Games, and the man who carries all the Australian expectations and responsibilities this week is Mark Webber of Williams. Slightly disappointed to have qualified the Williams back in 7th, but he's more than happy to take all the responsibility that goes with being the local favourite, the local hero here at Albert Park. Mark, I'm sure you enjoy the circuit, and because it's your home Grand Prix, you probably enjoy everything that surrounds this event more than anyone else here. What is the week like for you?
It's pretty busy actually, Steve. I think obviously being the 3rd race this year, I could come down a little bit earlier, because normally we test obviously right up till the last moment and then come down to Australia. So I had 2 weeks in Australia, which is pretty rare at this time of year especially. So the Australian Grand Prix, of course, is particularly special because, of course, I'm Australian, and you have a lot of Australian fans. Probably 90% of them are probably cheering for me. They've got their other favourite drivers, I suppose, but at the end of the day, they'd probably still like to see the local guy do all right.
The start of the season, apart from the 2 retirements in Malaysia, a lot of really encouraging ingredients from the Williams point of view.
Yes, very good. We are a little bit surprised actually, especially in Bahrain, and then Malaysia again, the pace, which we didn't really see much of that in testing in winter. We're a bit concerned, and then we went to the first few races and we were stronger than we probably thought.
An engine failure for Nico in Malaysia, and everyone thought, oh my goodness, this is the step back that you were hoping you weren't going to take, but nothing fundamentally wrong there, you feel?
Well, the engines were already pretty much built for Melbourne in a way. You know, that's how it's done. The cycle has to be pretty much in advance, so there was a little bit of nerves around that type of failure, I suppose, in the build-up to those events, and it did catch Nico. My engine was fine, but we don't know, how much further in the race I would have went. But Cosworth have made a change, and hopefully that'll see us. We'll find out in Imola. We don't expect any problems here in Melbourne. Touch wood.
Rosberg comes across to cover Webber. He's pushing him towards the pit wall. Webber's not lifting his foot, though. Who's going to get the inside line between the two Williams?
What about Nico as a teammate? There was a bit of an aggressive move at the start in Malaysia. How did you react to that?
Well, he didn't get away great, and he was trying to protect his position pretty quickly. And of course, I was the guy that was next to him. So, and I was very, very keen to clear him and make sure that, because I thought that I was going to be quicker than him in the race. Well, hopefully that was my objective. So I didn't want to be held up by anyone. You want to try and pass as many people as you can. So it was fine, I think. When you got the helmet on, sometimes you do things a little bit close to the bone, and it's good to see that he's aggressive and he wants to, stamp his authority.
I know that you took some time last week to launch the Mark Webber Tasmanian Challenge, and a lot of outdoor stuff going on. Tell us a little bit about it, how it works and what your ambitions are for it.
It's for TLC for Kids and the Cancer Plus program. The long and short of the challenge is a 6-day physical challenge, of course, trekking, mountain biking, road biking, paddling as well, a lot of navigational skills. We can be working at night as well. So the reason I want to do this is to do something that will test me and test the people that decide to do it. And then, of course, we're going to drop a few celebrities in here and there to take them out of their comfort zone, which you guys are always interested in the media to see them do something a bit different. So we are really excited about it.
Irresistible invitation. Hope it goes well, and
thanks very much.
All the best for this weekend. So Jack, first of all, congratulations and happy birthday from everybody watching back in the UK. This is a very special way to celebrate an 80th birthday.
Yes, certainly. Actually, anyone would think they put it on especially for me, wouldn't they?
What are your great personal memories of this place, Albert Park in particular?
Well, I think the big memory is the first time we came here, and the circuit was nothing like it is today, of course. And we were going around with straw bales and telegraph posts and trees and all sorts of things, and we just could not afford to fall off.
And what do you make of the progress that we've seen down the last 50 years? What do you make of Formula One in Australia and the enthusiasm, the growing enthusiasm among Australian motorsport fans for Formula One?
Well, I think the enthusiasm is pretty good, as you can see. You know, we've had a fantastic meeting at Albert Park every year, really, haven't we? And the crowds roll up, and there's no doubt, no shortage of enthusiasm at all.
Well, you were the great pioneer of it all. Once again, happy birthday, happy 80th to Jack.
Thank you.
And then off he went to sign about 1,000 autographs. What a way to celebrate your 80th birthday. Well, as you can see, the cars are out on the Albert Park circuit, heading towards the grid. Great moment for the crowd, this, Mark Blundell.
It's fantastic. The atmosphere is really building up now. But as we stand here, Steve, the thing that is a little bit of a concern is just see some grey clouds just coming over. I hope to God that they stay away from us, because that really could put a big mix into the race.
Yeah, there are showers forecast, maybe not to quite the degree that we had during the course of qualifying yesterday, as Jenson Button heads out behind us in the Honda, very noisily and very optimistically as well, we hope, heading for pole position. Yes, let's hope that rain holds off, because it is a wonderful occasion here at Albert Park. Australian Showbiz Society assembles here for the Australian Grand Prix, as well as Australian Sporting Society, as we've been seeing. And Louise, I think, is with one of Australia's most famous showbiz exports.
If you're looking for an Australian icon, they don't come much bigger than this lady, Olivia Newton-John, making your first visit to Grand Prix. You caused a bit of a stir in the McLaren garage earlier on, I understand. I've never seen so many mechanics lining up to get someone's autograph.
Oh, it was so funny, and the Renault next door put on one of the songs from Greece at the same time, so I was totally embarrassed, but it was very funny.
Now, we all remember you from Greece in that fantastic black jumpsuit. You ever fancy putting on one of these race suits and getting behind the wheel?
Very cool. You look really nice in that. I was thinking it could be very fashiony, that one. Yeah.
It's a bit hot, actually, but...
Yeah.
Now, what are you doing these days down here on Australia?
Well, I just finished a tour, and I did 4 shows at the Opera House, at the Sydney Opera House that we filmed, and I'm here to raise money for the Olivia Newton-John Cancer Centre that we're building here in Melbourne. So I've been fundraising, and it's been very exciting. It's a great thing to be doing.
And are you enjoying your first ever visit to a Grand Prix?
Yes, I actually I believe I went to one in Adelaide like 16 years ago, but I've never been to one in my hometown, so this is really wonderful. I'm so proud of Melbourne. They just put on the Commonwealth Games, and now they're very calm about it. Everything happens so easily and smoothly, it seems.
Well, we all love it here, so enjoy the Grand Prix.
Good. Thank you, I will.
Quick reminder of the ITV F1 website, itv-f1.com, where, among other things, you can put your own F1 questions to Mark Blundell in our question mark feature. Email questions to paddock@itv-f1.com. We'll answer the best or even the most obscure of them during our coverage. That's where you'll also find our F1 competition. In Malaysia, we asked who put in the fastest race lap during the opening Grand Prix in Bahrain. The answer, Nico Rosberg, becoming only the 4th driver to do it on his F1 debut. And that was correctly identified by Andrew McCloskey of West Yorkshire, who wins a trip to the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. Now this week's competition.
They say if you're going to go to one race in your life, it has to be the Monaco Grand Prix. And we're giving away a trip for 2. This is your chance to live like a movie star for the weekend. Watch the race unfold from a yacht in the harbour, rub shoulders with top celebs at the Grand Prix ball, and of course we'll fly you down and put you up in a lovely hotel for the weekend. For a chance of winning this exclusive trip to Monte Carlo, courtesy of Elevation Events and Dolce Vita, just answer this simple question. Monaco is situated on which famous coast? A, the Côte d'Azur, B, the Costa del Sol, or C, the Gold Coast? And the number to dial, 0901 293 2020, or text F1 plus A, B or C to 63337. Calls and text cost £1 plus the standard network rates. Lines close midnight Wednesday the 12th of April, and we'll announce who's won at Imola in 3 weeks' time.
Peter Jeffrey from Herefordshire says he frequently sees the letter N located in front of the driver's steering wheel. Well, what does it actually mean? Well, we've got Anthony Davison here from the Honda team. Tell us what it is, Anthony.
It's a button we don't have to use very often, but a vital one, where it's simple. If the car spins, you just press this button, the CDS, clutch disactivation system, and it basically puts the car into neutral, so the marshals can just wheel the car out of the way and get it into safety.
Okay, well there's also another letter located on the outside of the car. That's for you or for the marshals to use?
Well, the letter's on the outside of the car generally for the marshals, but it's for the driver's job to know as well what they do. We have a letter E for extinguisher near the driver roll hoop, and basically if the car's on fire, they can pull the button and it sets off the extinguisher. We've actually got one in the cockpit as well for the driver to pull just in case we're trapped in there, God forbid.
Okay, Peter, there you go.
Hello, welcome to the grid. It's 9 seconds down to the first corner. It's a long run from here, and Button's got the 2 Renaults behind him on the grid. My understanding is that they've got the same tyres. I thought it was him then. You can't recognise all the people in the same overalls, but he's going to go around the front. Let's just get a quick... Can we just come through there? Jensen! JB, it'll wait. No, we don't want to come with you. We might get... Right, I'm just saying, it's 9 seconds down the first corner. You're going to have to get some elbows out to keep the Renaults behind you.
Well, yeah, you know, this is the most important thing for us. We're, I don't know how light everyone is, but we've got to get to the first corner first. I think we'll be all right.
I've got a horrible feeling they're going to mug you because they're so quick off the line. So, like, just make it as wide as you can. I voiced over your lap from qualifying. It's in 10 years, one of the best laps I've seen. You must have been mega happy with that.
Thank you. No, I was. For me, it was probably my best lap I've ever done in a racing car. So, very happy. But turn one, we've got to be there first. If we are, there's a good chance we'll have a good race.
Go and have a wee-wee. Okay. It's Sterling Moss. Let's have a word. Sterl, quick word for us. How you doing? You've been driving a Mazda 250, haven't you, around here? How did it go?
Oh, very well. I mean, I wasn't given very many laps, but it was fabulous. Enjoyed it.
You motivated. They wanted a bit more time out on track. That's amazing.
I just say this is the atmosphere you can't buy. I mean, just before the start like this, when they're doing all these little final things to the cars, it's something that really gets you going.
Yeah, you're sitting there on your walking stick. You got yourself perched right here on the front row of the grid. You're loving it, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right in the middle, boy. This is where the trouble is, you know. No, so, it is incredible. Us having, I mean, I think in being here on the start is terrific for the sport. It's great for Honda. It's great for us, isn't it?
Okay, it is indeed. Have a good afternoon, and let's see who else we can find. Let's see if we can find another peddler. Quick word with Pat. Pat, you've got the softer tyres on, I believe, like the Hondas, yeah? Are you comfortable with those today?
Yeah, I think so. They're not exactly the same compound as Honda, but they are the softer of the ones we brought here. With warmer track temperatures, it'll favour us. So, yeah, I'm happy.
Because the track's going to change a lot if it doesn't rain, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It hasn't rubbered in much with the rain we've had, so I think we'll see quite a lot of development, yeah.
What exactly is the weather forecast according to all of your satellites? I know you invest a lot of time and money in that now.
Well, it's going to be reasonably clear. We're expecting quite strong winds still, although they don't look as bad as we feared. But I think what we got now is what we're going to see through the race.
Okay, good information there. And let's see, I'm hearing that Raikkonen is about over here. Where is he? There's he. On the pit wall. Let's just have a quick word. He's going to ignore me anyway, but I've been ignored before. Give me a quick word. Just a quickie. So, fifth on the grid, you got wiped out in Malaysia. You're going to be a bit nervous going down to turn one?
No, I think so. I'm fourth.
You're fourth, are you? I tell you what, that's a marvellous effort.
No. Those things happen in the racing sometimes, so we do the best of it.
Yeah, but you must be. You got the harder tyres than the 3 cars in front of you. Yeah, you must be confident later in the race they're going to come to you a bit.
Yeah, and Friday they were working very well, so I think so. They should be very good in the race.
Okay, have a good one, mate. Right. He's so low voltage, isn't he? I've never seen a driver as relaxed. I heard that Murray Walker was on the grid here somewhere. Oh, he's only 82 and he's all the way down the grid at the moment now. And what about Ralf Schumacher in the Toyota? Can we see him around? We're running out of drivers. I think we're going to have to park ourselves near the gents' toilets another day. And Mark Webber is not here either. What do they do in the toilet? Do they talk? Christian Horner, Red Bull. Any chance today, Christian? You got DC sort of 11th on the grid. How are you looking?
Well, we underperformed in qualifying yesterday. We should have been in the top 10. DC likes it around here. He's obviously gone very well around here in the past. So, we're hoping we can pick up a few points today.
Okay, I'm going to have a quick word with your driver then, if I can find him. He's just behind Michael Schumacher on the grid, 2 Ferrari engines. Be interesting to see which one of those two gets down to the. Normally Coulthard finds himself grabbing a quick word, DC, before you put all the clubber on, mate.
Talk to my engineer.
All right. Okay. Right. Chances today.
Of getting points, I think reasonable. Obviously, I'm as curious as the rest to see whether Jensen can do it. I'm feeling good for him, so good luck.
Okay, mate. Thank you very much. I don't think I'm that welcome down on the grid today. We're getting late. They're all ready to go into the action. I think there's any one of 5 or 6 drivers that can take this Grand Prix, and we're looking forward to it. See you later.
Well done, Martin. I think Murray Walker cleaned up ahead of you, but certainly managed to convey the atmosphere that is building up on that grid. And the excitement mounts for everyone involved in this Australian Grand Prix, and we'll be pretty near the start when we return in a couple of minutes' time.